part of what I was asked to do by President Obama was to think about ways the government could close this gap. Now, I reported directly to President Obama when he created the position. His thesis was, on any given topic, pretty much, there isn't an opportunity to solve that problem without a role, minor or major, for technology, data, or innovation to do something meaningful. And rather than have that expertise sit in each and every one of our policy silos, the healthcare expert, an energy expert, an education expert, that he'd have an advisor in the White House whose role was to cross-cut each of those policy areas to ensure they are injected with a proper understanding of the possibilities and potential for the application of these new technologies. That was the model we adopted inside the administration. And to answer his question, what is it that we could do to close the technology gap? I thought to grab lessons from industry examples that might give light, shine light on what we could or should be doing, or at least avoiding, as we took on this responsibility. And I turned no further than the story of Kodak Corporation to draw lessons on what not to do. And in fact, learn what it is that one could have done differently had we been at Kodak decades ago. Now you might be wondering, why am I showing this image of Kodak and Instagram? It was a particularly awkward time for me in this context. We were entering the 2012 State of the Union. First Lady Michelle Obama has a box, which is sort of prime time viewing, right? It's where all the celebrity guests come. So we had invited Mike Krieger, the co-founder of Instagram, to join as the First Lady's guest. Anybody want to know why was Mike Krieger invited, by the way, to the White House? Does anyone know the story of Mike Krieger? What was so cool about Mike Krieger?
Okay.
Tell me.
I have no idea. I'm asking you.
Okay, thank you. Mike Krieger is a Brazilian immigrant. And the reason is the president's commitment to immigration reform, acknowledging that immigrants can be job creators and entrepreneurs and innovators, and Mike representing that story. Only later would we learn ultimately selling his company for $1 billion to Facebook. But it was ironic because it was the same year Kodak announced it was going bankrupt. Now, what is it about the Kodak story that draw any lessons? Kodak was a very inventive company. It simply struggled on innovation. Invention is the idea creation process. Kodak invented the VCR. But Kodak did not believe that any of us would pay $500 to buy one. They hadn't talked to Vinith, who's obviously an early adopter of most technologies, so he would have been a wonderful test case. But they chose not to commercialize. Kodak invented digital photography, but chose not to commercialize it on perception that it would cannibalize their core business. In the 70s and 80s, they had 90+% market share in the film business and had a sense, as the researchers would suggest, that they didn't really have much in the way of competition and therefore not much in the way of motivation to keep pushing that innovation pipeline. The big lesson is what the team at Wharton wrote. When new technologies change the world, some companies are caught off guard. Others see change coming and are able to adapt in time. And then there are companies like Kodak, which saw the future, parentheses, and invented some of it, and simply couldn't figure out what to do. The big lesson for me was, if we thought about an innovation management pipeline, we could bring new ideas, there's lots of ideas in this country, into actual products and services that could deliver better government for the American people. An innovation pipeline.